For today's cup of coffee, we have been discussing as far as people having tech issues.
Yes.
And it's like there for a minute, is it the viewfinder? Is that what you call it? The screen on the camera had gone black.
Yeah, like completely black,
and
like no notification of whatever.
Well, yeah, I couldn't as far as telling the microphone, the level on the microphone, our backdrop, everything. And I was really about to cry because I thought, I can't afford a new camera. And I've had it for several years, but still yet I can't afford a new camera. But kid got it working.
Yes.
I know that he was talking about other technology being wiggy.
Mm-hmm. Like, you know how long it took my computer. Like, my computer was not acting right yesterday.
Yeah. Other people have been complaining about this for about a month.
My phone's not been acting right for about 2 months.
And even as far as my laptop has been doing weirdness. You know, we do the updates and stuff like that. It's not that old.
Yeah, and I just did updates last night.
I think my laptop may be 3 years old.
That's not old at all. That's not enough time for it to start wigging out on you.
Not at all. But it's just... And Mercury, I don't know when it goes into retrograde. It may be soon. I need to look into that. It's just like that adds insult to injury with everything else with the planetary alignments.
Yeah.
2022, the great clusterfuck. That's about all that you can say. But anyhow, kid did get the thing working, and I am grateful because he didn't want to sit here and watch the mama cry.
Well, I'm just like, well, shit, now I'm going to have to, like... you know, save up for a camera.
Well, anyhow.
I could get you like a good... I know what to look for in cameras. I could get you a damn good camera. Get one of those good Rebel TI 7s.
It's just simple. And
those overheat, but like...
This camera has really been good. And what is it? It's a
Canon.
It's a Canon. What is it? A Vixar or something like it? I can't remember what the name of it is. But it's been a good little camera. The only problem that I have with it is as far as an external microphone. And that has been a consistent problem.
We'll see with the Canon Rebels, you can actually get one of those good microphones. This hook up to it. You can get another external monitor as well. Hook up to it.
I was looking to see. I have looked many times to see this is. No, I mean as far as what the name of the camera. Not that it matters.
I mean, you
that's
can find
a crazy,
it on the bottom.
funny cat's question.
You can find it on the bottom.
Yeah.
Usually you can find it on the sides, but
yeah, that's a crazy, funny cat's question because he does some amazing photography and videos. So you might want to go and check out Crazy Funny Cat's channel at some point. You can find him on YouTube and you can make the link. Why are you sniffing the microphone?
Sniffing the microphone in the middle.
That's just weird.
It smells odd.
It
needs to be washed.
Oh, God help. Anyhow, besides all the tech issue and stuff, it's because we've got the little Intel inside dude. We didn't have a astronaut, so make believe.
Yeah.
Make believe. So this comes from the Daily Mail and is by Christopher Carbone, and that's September the 5th of 2022. And this is odd. I found this odd. Astronauts' blood can show signs of DNA mutations after spaceflight, and therefore their cancer risk should be monitored, a new study reveals.
Oh, God.
Because let's face it, we're not supposed to be in zero gravity stuff. Is Earth. This is where we belong. And it says 14 astronauts from NASA's Space Shuttle program who flew between 1998 and 2001 on shuttle missions averaging 12 days took part in the study. 85% were male and 6 were on their first mission for the space agency. Researchers collected whole blood samples from the astronauts twice, 10 days before spaceflight and on the day of landing, as well as white blood cells that were collected just once, 3 days after landing. And those samples were put into a freezer at minus 112 degrees Fahrenheit and not touched for 20 years.
My God.
And it says, quote, astronauts work in an extreme environment where many factors can result in somatic mutations, most importantly, space radiation, which means that there is a risk that these mutations could develop into clonal hematopoiesis. Actually, it's hematopoiesis.
Hematopoiesis.
I did practice that before. I actually am familiar with that term. It's just a matter of speaking it. And that quote came from the study's lead author, and that was David Guaxon, professor of cardiology for the Cardiovascular Research Institute at Icahn Mount Sinai in New York. He also states, quote, given the growing interest in both commercial space flights and deep space exploration, the potential health risk of exposure to various harmful factors that are associated with repeated or long-duration exploration space missions, such as a trip to Mars, we decide to explore retrospectively somatic mutation, end quote. Somatic mutations are the ones that take place after a person is conceived and in cells other than sperm or egg cells, meaning they cannot be passed on to future generations. Maybe they can, maybe they can't.
Depends on the person.
Well, somebody in the comment section
Some people really don't need to be producing children.
Well, that's true too. But somebody in the comment section of this article had a really good question. Have any of these people, after, had children after that they were in space and stuff like that?
Don't know.
And if so, were there some kind of abnormalities or anomalies within the children? Mm-hmm. You have to think about these things.
Yeah. I mean, that's a viable question.
Sure. It was a great question. The mutations identified in the study were characterized by the overrepresentation of blood cells derived from a single clone, a process called clonal Different blood cancers, including chronic myeloid leukemia, are examples of clonal hematopoiesis. Scientists using DNA sequencing as well as bioinformatics analysis to identify 34 mutations in 17 CH driver genes. The most common mutations occurred in TP3, a gene that produces a tumor-suppressing protein, and DNMT3A, one of the most frequently mutated genes in acute myeloid leukemia. Although the mutations were high for the astronaut's age, the researchers said it was still below a concerning threshold. Mm-hmm. And same researcher had said, quote, the presence of these mutations does not necessarily mean that the astronauts will develop cardiovascular disease or cancer, but there is a risk that, over time, this could happen through ongoing and prolonged exposure to the extreme environment of deep space, end quote. As NASA ramps up its long-delayed Artemis program to put American boots on the lunar surface for the first time in 50 years, possibly, these types of health observations for astronauts will be a key to the future success of spaceflight to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Researchers demonstrated that they can conduct this type of study to examine astronauts' susceptibility to disease without impacting their ability to work. The study was published August the 31st in Nature Communications Biology. They recommended that NASA and its medical team screen astronauts for somatic mutations and possible clonal expansion or regression every 3 to 5 years, and also well into their retirement years when these types of mutations can potentially expand. And Galson further stated, what is important now is to conduct longitudinal retrospective and well-controlled prospective studies involving a large number of astronauts to see how that risk evolves based on a continued exposure, and then compare that data against their clinical symptoms, imaging, and lab results. What do they mean?
Wow.
What do they mean, a large number of astronauts?
Don't.
When has there ever been a large number of astronauts?
What is 50 considered a large number?
That's a good question. I don't know what he does consider a large number. He further states that will enable us to make informed predictions as to which individuals are more likely to develop disease based on the phenomena we are seeing, and open the door to individualized precision medicine approaches to early intervention and prevention, end quote. And I think it's where you go into like the epigenetics that they're working on as far as individual treatments based on somebody's DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So
Be weird.
Well, and within that, are there certain people that are more prone to developing these diseases than others?
Possibly.
And if they are, then maybe they shouldn't go into space.
Well, yeah.
So
There needs to be better health screenings on that stuff.
They don't know what to. I mean, seriously, on this stuff, what do you look for? Because they don't know what they're doing. It's like, we gonna put somebody in space.
Toying.
Well, these astronauts,
They're toying with shit they really shouldn't be, honestly.
Right, they're lab rats. They really are, but they sign up to be lab rats.
They get paid good money.
Well, and the fame and all that stuff. This work comes 2 months after a study showed that astronauts who partake in space flights lasting longer than 3 months can show signs of incomplete bone recovery even after a full year on Earth. Quote, the detrimental effect of spaceflight on skeletal tissue can be profound, end quote, stating the opening line of the study. Further quote, we found that weight-bearing bones only partially recovered in most astronauts after 1 year of spaceflight. And that was a statement by Lee Gable, who is the assistant professor of kinesiology and lead author of the study. Yeah, they do get fragile. And she's further stated, this suggests that permanent bone loss due to spaceflight is about the same as a decade worth of age-related bone loss on Earth. End quote.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, that leads to, as far as osteoporosis and different things such as that, which bone fractures kind of easily.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the reason old people, they don't bounce too good, they break.
Yeah.
That study began in 2017, and it followed 17 astronauts before and after spaceflight over 7 years to determine how bone does or does not recover after longer space flights. Researchers went to Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, and scanned the wrists and ankles of the astronauts before they left for space. 1 year after returning from long-duration spaceflight, most astronauts demonstrated incomplete recovery of bone density, strength, and some kind of thickness.
It's because we're supposed to stay on Earth. Thickness.
And that was at the weight-bearing distal tibia. So that's kind of...
major.
Yeah.
I mean, we're Earth beings. We're supposed to stay on the Earth.
So as far as, it's one thing to watch the sci-fi movies about people traveling all over and stuff like that, but the reality is that the weightlessness
can affect you detrimentally.
Sure, absolutely. And even I think that they do, I don't know if they have the ability to have some kind of man-made gravity on these things. I don't know that they do. But as far as...
I think they do. I think they do have some...
floating around up there, and that you do have some of these people that have these grandiose ambitions of colonizing different planets and such like that. Mm-hmm. Well, if just after a year that can cause bone loss and stuff like that, then, even if they got to wherever they were going and stepped on a rock and then, break a hip, that would be bad.
Yeah.
So, lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
And then the DNA mutation, that's concerning.
Yeah, it's like, don't fuck with that.
Well, it's just...
I mean, like, how hard is it? Don't fuck with the shit.
Don't mess with stuff that you don't know what you're doing. But that is one of the things. To find out about these things, you have to do things. So, but as far as...
I don't have to be an astronaut to be like, I won't last up there.
This is brilliant.
I ain't built to... We built differently. We ain't supposed to be up there.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I really do. It doesn't take...
That's not me trying to be snarky. That's just like...
It's just truth.
It's just observational.
It's just truth. Oh, and it's like when they talk about rocket scientists being smart, are they really? Just because that you can build a rocket.
Book smart.
Well,
There's such thing as book smart, but like having sense, no.
There's a lot of things that look good on paper, but don't necessarily work in reality.
No. Don't fuck with the shit.
Well, people, and that is anytime that you're doing any kind of study that involves humans, there are so many variables. Yeah. I mean, even amongst rats and stuff like that, you've got individual rats. Even if they come out of the same litter and stuff, there's still individual differences.
Yeah, they all got their own personalities.
Sure. And there can be variations in genes. Okay, multiply that to the nth degree, and then you've got all the different factors as far as people.
Right. Don't fuck with the shit.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So, I don't know that I ever had a desire to be in space, other than like the Star Trek, which I thought their adventures were great, but did I want to be on there? No. I was quite content being here watching their adventures. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, Earth being floating up with the giant space rocks.
Right. And even them, that's like when the ship got screwed up, stopped,
just stuck,
trapped.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that claustrophobia thing. I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. It's like, no, I'm very content being here on the Earth.
Yeah, there's lots of wonderful things here on the Earth to explore. Why I don't need to.
It's like, I could go climb Mount Fuji.
Yeah, that would be great. You could go see the little snow monkeys.
That's just as good as...
The snow monkeys would be great.
That's just as good as space.
Yeah, yeah. But different peoples. But don't get the osteoporosis. That would be bad.
I got osteoporosis.
Yeah.
Fucking him in a wheelchair. Fucking.
Yeah, wouldn't that be horrible? And it's like then they come back and they have to be confined to wheelchairs and such.
Yeah.
And it's like if it's screwing up the density of their bones, what else is it screwing up? And if it's screwing up their DNA.
It screws up everything.
Yeah.
You're not... We ain't built like that. We ain't built like that.
No. We are designed for this planet.
Yes.
Well, most people are. I don't know that I am. I'm allergic to damn near everything.
Everything on... You would be good on space.
Mugwort and white elderberry.
In space.
That was the two things that I was not allergic to. Seriously. Mugwort and white elderberry. Everything else I was allergic to.
That's fucked up.
I thought
Have
so.
Have you thought about that?
I told you I don't do well on this planet. So, if you've had experiences with paranormal and supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids,
yes,
thoughts of ways that living in space or traveling in space can screw somebody up. If you have local, regional, or family myths or legends, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And the email address, as well as the link for the article, will be in the description box.
Yes.
Know that you're loved.
And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. Thank you all, and have a good.
I'm exhibiting allergies to this planet,
I was just
even
about
as we
to
speak.
Sneeze. I was about to sneeze, and I had to squish my nose.
It's all good. Pressure points. Pressure points.
Put it right above.
Yes. We'll see you on the next cup. Bye.
Bye.